Hello everyone and welcome back to Cities by Steven. You're talking to Steven. Welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, please hit that subscribe button, get that bell notification on too so you don't miss out on a video. Welcome back to the channel where last time we were here we expanded the town of Winslow, released some southern residential expansion, and I think it turned out pretty nice. In today's episode we're going to be kind of finishing off this area and then we'll be moving on to something different, probably on the north side of the map, next week. So this episode will kind of wrap up a lot of the things we had going on in the last 2 weeks in this game. So we will be building up the Meteor site as a national park. We'll be adding in a factory and just kind of finishing off the edges of the residential areas. So without further ado, let's hop into it and let's take a look at what we'll be doing. So this is where we ended off last episode. The last few episodes out over here, we have built up a Main Street area through here. We have a Costco. We added in just a bit of residential in this area. We got a metro station over here and a transit station over on this side. So let's just zoom in here. And here's kind of the old town Main Street of Winslow. There's a nice big park and a marina in this estuary area. Pretty marshy, I bet. I'm sure it fluctuates with the spring floods and everything like that. We've got another kind of small main street through here, a bit more residential focused, with another area over on this side. Then we have a big suburban metro station. And then over here we have a big transit hub where the rail, metro, and buses converge. We have this crater over here, which we'll be dealing with today. We added in this interchange onto the airport parkway. Then we have Costco over here, which is getting some good traffic. So, in today's episode, we will be starting off with the Meteor site. The idea for this is going to be kind of like a national park, but it's free. It's like a roadside attraction if you're driving along the highway. Be a good spot to kind of stretch your legs if you're on a big road trip. Pretty unique little feature here. But yeah, I think it's going to be incorporated into this town as well, which is why I kind of want it to be free. Then we'll be getting a unique factory in this zone here. Mainly because I feel like this is a good, unique little spot. A factory fits nicely in this pocket. I think we can tell a story with the town here as well. And then I also want to expand into here. These roads here are just to test out if a light will work here, because I'd rather a light here than a roundabout. It's a bit more realistic. So yeah, I've just been testing this out to see how that works. We might also expand a mini cargo hub somewhere, maybe over here. And then also maybe look at adding a bit more garbage in this area. So let's go over here to the transit hub where I added a bit of a unique little feature here based off of your suggestions in the comments. And it seems to be working, but pocket cars are always going to happen. I added a tunnel connection that runs from the bus station. And holy cow, look at this. This is fantastic. How many people are using this and not using and clogging up the intersection here? So we have this connects over into here. Theoretically, it connects underground to the car park and then our parking lot. And then it would connect into here where we have a connection into the train station over here, but it also continues underground over into here where you can walk and get off at the casino or the convention center. So yeah, I think that's a good little tunnel connection through here. Seems to be used very heavily, which is very nice. It's limiting the pocket cars just a bit so that traffic is flowing pretty nicely in through here. But here is the Meteor site. It has water in it. There's actually a water source in this that I put in, so we'll be keeping that. If you saw a recent Skylines 6 episode, which was my last one for the season, this is probably a site that you've seen because I dealt with the Meteor site in that series as well. A bit unplanned. I knew I was going to be doing this at some point, but kind of funny that it's working out that it's in the same week, really. So yeah, we'll be kind of having like a bit of a viewing area into here because it's a pretty unique feature. If I was walking through here, I would want to see what is inside of this Meteor site, right? So we'll be doing that. Otherwise, I think this is kind of like an arid landscape, right? So some nice little walking paths. I'm sure it'd be really nice to see some birds, some wildlife and stuff in this area. So keep it very nature reserve, keep it very light on the assets. We'll have a bit of a hub right here for some parking, washrooms, and then yeah, so another feature that we have is we have this walking bike path through here, so that is convenient. We'll have to make sure that we have a nice connection for that, but I put a fence alongside of this because this metro trench would be a little dangerous, so we just have a fence guarding that. So right in this little area here, it is pretty flat, so let's just clear out the trees here and then we'll get started. So we'll just use the forest brush really easily, just clear this out just a touch like that. And then we have this this street here. So Harvey Street is kind of a bypass that connects Briggs and also this major highway with the town of Winslow and this kind of commercial type area through here. So I think if we have a light on this, it's not the biggest deal in the world. And I believe what we'll do is we'll kind of have this road come through here and then curve into this direction. All right, so just a really simple little entrance here. I'm actually going to extend this fence out a little bit farther, but I think this parking kind of gives us just enough of what we're looking for. Nothing too fancy, you know, just something really simple, something that makes it seem like they expanded onto the original idea at some point. Perhaps it was just this before, and then they were like, you know what, a lot of people come here. We'll add in some paved parking. I know that the handicap parking is in the wrong spot, but unfortunately, I don't have an asset that would fit exactly this with the handicap parking a bit closer. So yeah, this works. And then the bushes just hide the awkward concrete edges. So we'll come back here and detail it up a little bit more. But what do we need? Well, I'm going to run a path here. We'll run this path kind of over here. We'll have a big path kind of looping the Meteor site. Oh, bit of an autosave, so we'll be seeing some glitches. There we go, or some jumpiness. And then we'll have a big kind of loop swing down through here. We'll access this side where we can have like a connection down into here, but I think I see like a secondary parking zone through here. Doesn't have to be really a main gate. It could be a side gate that could work. And then we'll reconvene after we get those in. All right, so there we have it. We have some path, like a big giant loop through here. We have a couple of connections for locals. We have a secondary gate over here. It's also off the highway here, which is nice to see. But yeah, let's get Winslow Meteor to be free. Don't really wouldn't expect people to pay for such a natural beauty like this, right? So let's get a couple key features in here. Now, the Nature Preserve asset or group doesn't have any washrooms, but the other ones do. So I don't think we have the zoo stuff unlocked yet, which would be nice. So we need to create a zoo area. So I wonder if I can just briefly do that in what is going to be the zoo. So we have this labeled here. Let's just really briefly just put a road down and then start a zoo. I know this isn't exactly right, but I really want this these assets here. So small zoo main gate, plop that in. There we go. We unlocked just some basic stuff. Then I'm just going to delete it. And we still have these here. So the zoo restrooms is what I was looking for, mainly because I feel like this is going to look a little bit nicer in here. It's going to fit the style a little bit better. So it says zoo. We can ignore that, right? Now, the power lines are on this side. I wonder if it'd be better to have... No, it does look better on this side. Okay, so we have the zoo restrooms. What else do we need? Well, there's the zoo cafe. Should we have a cafe in here? I don't necessarily mind that. Yeah, I don't really mind having a cafe through here, but maybe what we do is instead of a cafe, we go with like a food truck or something like that. I'm sure in the winter that people would still use these, but I feel like a food truck is a bit more suitable for this type of area. I'm sure, like I said, I'm sure in the winter people would still come here and walk, but I wouldn't expect the food truck to still be here. Maybe we could have an ice cream stand as well. No, that's okay. I think we're good. But let's get some picnic tables. And I'm actually going to use the city park picnic tables because they are a bit smaller than the national park ones. So we could just throw 2 down here. Maybe 2 more over here. Okay, very good. So now we have a food option. We have a restroom. Let's see if we could get maybe the restroom over here. We don't necessarily need the food truck, but the restroom would be nice. You know what? I'm gonna put a stand like this outside here because maybe this is like a farmer stand or something like that, and I feel like this would be a nice location for like a farm produce stand to get plopped up. All right, so that is pretty simple. We have these connections in here. There's one thing that's been bugging me is this concrete underneath here. It's a bit silly, so let's just remove this. It must have happened when we were creating these elevated sections here. So let's just make sure that that doesn't look weird. And yeah, it's a lot better already. All right, so what other features do we need to have in here? Well, I mentioned getting like a viewing platform. And where would we have this viewing platform? Well, this side is a bit more elevated. And to be honest, if we're looking into the crater in this direction, it doesn't have the best of views with the oil refinery in the background. So why don't we get a bit of a kind of path right through here, right along the side, and then we could have a bit of a viewing platform this way where we can see the city skyline, the name of the game, in the background here. So how are we going to do this? Well, we have a few options, right? But I think the most realistic and the most affordable for the city would be to create a bit of like a bridge area. Let's see if we can get this to look nice. That's not bridge. Oh, I'm sure we just need to make it elevated. Yeah, there we go. So if you were, walking along here, I'm sure people would stop and take a look, right? We could have like viewing decks into it as well. So let's just try and get like a bit of a boardwalk along the outside of the crater for now. And then we'll look at getting potentially some viewing decks as well. Okay, very nice. That looks really cool. So when you are walking along here, you climb up these stairs. Maybe we could make this a little bit longer so it doesn't need to be so high up so quick. And then you arrive at the top here and you can see down into it. I think that looks pretty darn cool. So yeah, this side's really steep. So let's fix this and then we'll look at some other features. This way it seems a bit more like stairs, so I think that works out great. Okay, so viewing platforms are a key feature of the nature reserves, right? There are, oh, bit of an autosave. They are like this. So we could try and get one into the crater, which would be cool. We plop it down like that. I think that would be pretty neat. So why don't we kind of add that feature onto this side or something like that? It would probably be built in an area where there's a bit of a lower zone. It would probably be built just over the edge. So let's plop this down right here. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Okay. But perhaps the other one works better. No, we're on a bit of an elevated area, so let's try and clean this up a little bit. So I think the best way that we could clean this up is to just extend the, extend the height of the area right at the base of the viewing deck. So just something like that. We could also go for something like the watchtower. Where am I? Holy cow. The watchtower, which would be helpful as well, but we already kind of have done something similar to this with the boardwalk. Anything else that we could add in? There's this kind of smaller lookout tower, and I don't really think that there's really a need for any other lookout towers. I don't think this is kind of a camping area. I don't think we need any cabins or anything like that. So yeah, the only thing I could think of is maybe like a bouldering site for kind of some action in here. But I think we should keep this one a bit more simple. A 1-star park. Yeah, it might get to 2 stars if we ever get 500 people out this way. So yeah, I think this is probably good enough. We'll come back here during the detailing time lapse to add a fence and add in some more nature aspects to this. But I think this is really good. Doesn't need to be anything else other than this. And I think it looks pretty cool. Awesome. Okay, so going down this way, going west, this area in here, I don't really see have a ton of value. It's really close to the oil industry. And yes, these symbols are supposed to be there. The abandoned one isn't, but we'll leave it. And it's close to the highway. It's a really awkward landscape, so I don't really see us having any use of this land. So we are going to skip it, even in this zone here. It's basically kind of right off of a highway. It's right off of this adjoining road. It's a pretty awkward area. But then we get to this area in here where we have a lot going on. We have a big cul-de-sac, which is a road that the oil industry built to extract oil. So it extracts oil. It doesn't connect to this zone here, as you can see. And then the oil gets trucked down to here and then back to the roundabout and then over into the oil industry. So I was thinking we could probably repurpose a bit of this intersection here. We could have another major intersection here where we have a bit of residential in Lewisburg in this zone. And I feel like we could probably have a spattering of residential in other places. But I really want to build a factory in here. But in order to support that factory, we're going to be needing to truck in goods. So we have an oil industry over here. Perfect. We can truck that in, no problem. But if we're getting forestry or farming, that comes from all the way over here with the farming, and the forestry is all the way over here. And I think the ore is over on this side, so that's fairly close. But it probably means we're going to need to get a train in this area if we're going to get a factory out this way. Now we do have 2 cargo stations down in here, and we do have a cargo station over here, but those are like just too far away. So I was thinking where could be the next realistic location for a cargo station to pop up. Here is the rail right of way, and we have an abandoned oil well right here. These orphan wells is what they're called. They're fairly common in Alberta, and they're a big problem because of just who owns them if they get abandoned, if the company goes bankrupt. So there's often these lands that are kind of in limbo that the province technically owns. So I feel like this could be a good little location for the province to finally, put their money where their mouth is, get rid of an orphan well, build a cargo station where we could have support a factory over here, which is, still a good distance away, but we're going to get a town out this way, so that could also help ship in goods to the town. It's also fairly close to the edge of the map, so that would also be good for exporting. So I feel like this could be a good little spot for a simple little cargo station. So since we already have a road right of way, I believe it would be pretty easy for us to just extend a road from here, following the tree line. Perhaps it's an older road, and then we can connect it up into here, where we can then have it intersect with this road. So this will also then become a bit of a cut through, but I believe that any car wanting to go in this direction over to here would just take the roundabout over into here. So I'm not sure how many people would actually take this road, but it's good to have options. So let's start with the road, and then we'll move on to the rail station. All right, so there we have it. A bit of finagling there to get everything to fit right, but here we go. We have the train station in here, the cargo station. I think that looks really nice. I think it looks like a modern kind of import-export station. Nothing too fancy at all about this. We have a nice in and out here, and we have a bit of an area through here where we can get some warehouses and whatnot. But I think this looks good. I think this looks exactly like what we need it to. I feel like there are some things that we could fix just like that. Yeah, that works out pretty nicely. And then let's get some warehouses in here, because I feel like this will be important for moving the goods around. So let's get some warehouses. Here we go. These ones are nice. These yards are kind of what I'm looking for. Though I could definitely see us getting one of these guys over here, though perhaps this fits nicer on this side. Yeah, that looks good right there. And then let's see if there's any other warehouses that we could fit. We could fit maybe 2 of these ones for here. Yeah, I think that would look nice. These ones do look really nice, kind of compressed together. So I definitely don't mind adding these in. All right, so we'll come back here through the detailing time lapse to clean up the concrete and whatnot. But yes, I know this is a sharp turn, but I think they could do it. I'm sure that the companies would plan for this curve. It's the only really way that we could get a connection out into that direction. But this is really for the town and whatnot. Oh, look at this. We already have a train through here. That's fantastic. How full was this train? 100% full. Well, looks like this was really needed. Okay, so the whole purpose of doing this was because we needed a factory. And this is a great spot for a factory. Let's check the terrain first. It's not the greatest, so let's level it out. Any planning in the zone, they would have definitely leveled out the terrain. All right, so I drew this road in here because I wanted to make sure that we keep our angles right, and I want this building to be kind of at the same angle as this main road, so it looks like a continuation. It looks like a repurposing of older land. So we'll delete this connection in a bit, but let's get this factory in here. So what factory am I thinking of using? Well, I think it's going to be the clothing factory for a few reasons. It fits. It looks nice here. I feel like we could get a cool little, a cool kind of look with this road right in this pocket here, or with the building. I think it's going to be placed well. And the pollution is the smallest of the ones that I was considering from. It's 15. The other ones I was looking at were 20. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so we'll have this road continue beyond the building because when you are building your unique factories, I think there are a few important considerations, and one of them is to look at the asset itself and look at what the building is asking you to do with it. So there are some doors right here. Yeah, right there and right here. So we need to make sure that we respect the fact that the building has them. And there is no gate along this fence, so that is a little interesting. I think we should play with the idea that this little gap here is potentially a gate that slides open, because otherwise I don't know what's happening here. Maybe this warehouse floor opens up and they can bring trucks all the way through the warehouse, but I don't know. I think this asset is missing a gate here. And I don't think a truck can squeeze through there at all. So I think it's okay for us to run a road kind of right around it. But not too close. But I think we have a good idea here. So now that we got that road in here around, it makes sense that we're going to be able to get some warehouses along this side of it. But I'm looking at here, and you know what? I kind of don't want to delete this road. It's really convenient as long as we have proper restrictions. I don't see a reason why we can't just leave it if we say it's for trucks only. I wouldn't mind seeing some trucks take a little left here in, bypassing this crazy intersection, staying off the highway. So yeah, let's make some restrictions with this road. But you know what we should do is actually upgrade it to make it bit more realistic, right? So we should have this industry road for this. Yeah, and perhaps this is maybe an original road. So in a way it kind of lines up with the theme. All right, so we banned at this intersection cars, buses, taxis. So only garbage services and like ambulances and whatnot, and trucks can use it. So let's clean up this node, and then we'll play with the intersections a bit. All right, fantastic. So now we have some extra space in here as well. We could add a few little things in here. I think some detailing would go a long way in this zone, but we need to make sure that we have the warehouses for this area. I don't think we need a light here. I think we could probably get away with just some yielding. But warehouses. Okay, so what does this factory need? The clothing factory needs animal products, crops, and plastic. I don't believe we're producing too much animal products, so we'll have to be wary of that. And plastics is nearby with the oil, so we might not even really need to have a plastics warehouse, but we will. We'll use a small one for that. So let's add in a few warehouses. And for the animal products, we will probably use... Yeah, we'll just go with this one, the small one. I think this is probably best, and we'll plop it right there. And then we'll have this guy right beside it, kind of looking like an extension of this one. We'll have a second one through here for the actual goods that are produced. And then we need crops. And the crops, you have to go back into farming and grab these large silos or barns or small silos. We will be using a large one and a small one. So I'm just gonna actually put them in the reverse order because I think we could get it to look a bit like they are one kind of asset here. And, you know, for thematic reasons, I don't think we should have animal products sitting outside. So you could technically have this one as animal products, but it makes sense to do it that way. Let's take a look at what the asset is asking from us. And I believe that it's asking for concrete because I believe this is probably the most realistic scenario, let's be honest, just to fill in this whole area with concrete. I don't really mind stopping the concrete at a certain point along here. All right, there we have it. That looks a lot nicer. Then on this side, there's no doors or anything. Oh, there is one here actually. So maybe we could get concrete up to a certain point. And then we can run some paths. Or sorry, some trees. So let's take some of these bushes here, and then this can hide the awkward edges. There we go. And then we can run just a small line of trees. So we'll come back and we'll do the rest during the detailing time lapse. Now, is there any other use for this road other than kind of access around? No, I don't really think so. I don't really want to clog it up with other things. This would probably, the company probably bought all this land up. I could definitely see us getting like a path, for example, though, around the outside. Because what's going to go over here? Yeah, I'm not too sure, to be honest. I figure this would take up most of the space. We could have, say, some services out this way. We could have a post sorting facility. I think that would actually be a good idea because there is a bit of an issue with the amount of post cars that are clogging up this intersection here, going through it. So we could have a post sorting facility out this way as well, and it kind of makes sense to have it out over here anyways. The other thing I was thinking of is maybe some garbage, but we already have that nearby. So let's do post. I guess we could have it off of this road. Maybe what we do is, yeah, I guess it'd have to be off of this main road here. And I think that's okay to do, so long as we back up a little bit. Or what we could do is pull this one over and bring it, and start it like over here. Have its own dedicated space. I think that would make sense to do. And then that means we can have some dedicated turning lanes and whatnot through here. Awesome. Okay, so this will be really helpful for the area to have a post sorting facility out this way. Is there any other buildings that we could kind of relate to this? So we have kind of the warehouse side of things. Maybe we have kind of an administrative building over on the other side, or maybe we can connect these two up and we could, you know, have some sort of connection that way. Whoops. All right, so we have a ore maintenance building, but I feel like this building looks kind of cool to have in here. It's also pretty close by, but that's okay. I think it looks nice in here. Could be some sort of company that's running out of this zone. We have a road maintenance building, which also looks nice. I think we can extend the parking lots out this way. Should be good. And then we have another ore building over here, but I feel like it also works out this way for some storage. Let's put this one on empty. Oh, we need water out this way. Oh, good thing I look. Well, hey, look, I forgot water in this episode. So it's kind of funny. There we go. The water pipes are not running under the road, but that is okay. And we'll come back and detail this up afterwards. I think we can get some parking along this side here. And then perhaps some more parking along here as well. But I feel like we need a bit of landscaping that needs to be done. And we'll kind of re-wild the area a little bit in the detailing time-lapse, because it doesn't really seem like a pedestrian connection could happen, but I believe a desire path could possibly have popped up right through here. I feel like this looks nice. Perhaps some workers or something walk this way every day. All right, I don't want to change this bridge because this is a bit of a legacy bridge. So, yeah, but I think this looks pretty nice through here. There's gonna be lots of traffic coming in and out. A good little pocket of industry. I think if there's any like little spaces, kind of like here, we could get a little warehouse again, just like we had before. Kind of looking at this from this angle, this looks really good. I really like that we left this connection in here. I feel like it fits the area really close to the highways. It would make sense that factories popped up through here. And this has become a bit of an industrial hub. That's kind of what we're going for. That's kind of the theme. And I think it worked out. So, oh, look at this. Looks like the light experiment might not work out in the end. I'm glad I left that. I'm glad I caught that. Looks like we're probably going to need to make this a roundabout. In reality, or maybe it's just a backlog with the lanes here. So maybe if we just extend the lanes, it'll work out, because it looks like that cleared really quickly. And I know we have another light here, but I feel like we can get away with it a little bit. Yeah, I think we can get away with it. One thing I want to do before we move on into the residential is add in one building out over here, do a bit of detailing on it at the end, and that is the garbage processing plant. I feel like we have a nice little space here. It's a bit of a platform up here, but I think, oh no, water. So there's a bit of a platform up here, but I think it would look nice if we just kind of extended this road straight from what we currently have it at. And then we can get the garbage processing plant out this way. So if we just kind of plop it down right in here, it fits pretty nicely. It kind of adds to the industrial kind of look of this area, but it's really needed it this way. We've had a lot of garbage issues with this area lately, so I hope that this will help with the processing of everything. I'm sure it would. It's a giant factory, or giant processing plant, right? So I'm just gonna do this to remove the hitbox. We have a mini little processing plant. This is definitely not the landfill. This is just like a temporary holding facility or something like that. But this also frees up this intersection here for an expansion, because we're going to need it, because now that we have this here, we're going to definitely need a dedicated turning lane. Or maybe we can make this into a bit of a roundabout. I prefer a light, but a roundabout might be needed. If we do a roundabout here, we definitely won't do a roundabout here. But I think this is a bit more realistic to have a roundabout. than this one. Yeah, this has started to become quite the big intersection, so maybe we can delete this and have this be a bit more of a rural vibe. All right, so it looks like the backlog is clearing up a little bit. There is quite the influx of cars going through here. I'm very curious to see where these cars are going, so let's take a look. If we hop to here, we click this road, this post truck, but let's click the road. And it looks like all these post trucks are going to this cargo station, which makes sense, and then the rest of them are going out of bounds. So they're shipping out, which is not what I was anticipating. Since we are exporting goods here, I wonder if maybe we could have a mail area over here instead of having these two warehouses. Let's delete these two and then get a mail warehouse over here, and we'll see if that improves the traffic situation. Ooh, doesn't particularly fit, but I bet we could get it to fit. All right, so hopefully this works out, diverting a lot of that export mail traffic to here, rather than have it flow through here and this be more of a localized service point. So we'll have to see how the traffic works down the line. But let's get a small little village in here. Nothing too fancy. I don't think we need anything beyond kind of a small residential area. So let's just remove these trees. Let's take a look at the landscape that we're working with. So, whoops, wrong one. Topography. There we are. Okay, so it's pretty smooth. I'm not gonna try to change too much in this zone, but I will level this out in the middle here, because any developer would, do that. So we'll just clean up those little bumps and bruises. But looks like there's a lower level here, okay. And then classic kind of riverside here. So we'll do something similar to what we've done in the past along the river. So we'll keep a big buffer, especially at this point here along this point. I definitely think that it should be a park of some sort. So this is going to be kind of a bit of a smaller community. Just an extension, really, of Walsenburg and Winslow. Just a small residential area. I can definitely see this being gridded, though, as best as we can get it. And then we'll bring this one right to kind of where we have space to get a bit of a park kind of in. We'll have a park gate, so we'll have this one stop right there in a similar manner to what we have over here. And then we can have pretty much the entire town run off of this. This is just going to be a residential area. I don't really see this requiring much else. All right, so this is very much just a residential zone. I envision this kind of area being housing right along here. I believe that perhaps we should downgrade this to this path right at the end, though. I think that would look nice. And I definitely just really want residential in here, though I do believe we're going to need some services. So services like what? I think maybe an elementary school could work out this way, and we'll place this in a large enough zone. So why don't we place that right in there? We can block off the rest of it with a fence. We can do that really quickly. The fence just really acts as kind of the demarcation zone of what is the schoolyard, right? So it can be as large as we want it to be, but I think for this case we only really need it to be about this big. There we go. And I don't really see any commercial over here, but I do think we need a fire station and police station, because if we go into those tabs here, healthcare is fine. Death care is fine. That's actually good to know. Childcare. Yeah, I think we'll have to live without that. And then same thing with elder care. We could get a sauna this way. We could probably squeeze it in. But that's okay. Fire coverage. I actually think maybe we could get the fire coverage over on this side. Right in here. Makes sense to do. And then police as well. Looks like we're pretty good on police, actually. Maybe not. Maybe we need some sort of... Oh, that's... there's police. Okay. Maybe we could get some sort of highway patrol or something down the line somewhere. So I will leave it as well. We don't really need a bank either. There's one pretty close by. This is very much just a residential area. So since it's a residential area, we need to have enough parks, and we are going to have a big walking path around it. But I definitely think that a playground can go a long way here. So we'll have this one in this little awkward little spot right here. Yeah, there we go. That looks good. And then let me fill the rest up with residential. All right, so there we have it. It's still zoning in, but it has the big park around the outside. We'll fill it in with some trees and whatnot. And look at this. The intersections here have become a lot more manageable. And if we go all the way back down in here, looks like there's a bit more traffic than we previously had too. So yeah, it looks pretty interesting to me. We will jump into a very quick detailing time. That's where we'll detail up this area, and the meteor strike site. All right, folks, so there we have it. There's the detailing of this area. Good place for birds and wildlife and whatnot. Some sparse trees, some shrubbery. I think that works out really nicely over here. Then swinging over into here, I decided to add in a bit of a walking path around the backside here. It'd be nice to kind of connect the theme up. There's a dog park in there as well. And, you know, lots of parking. That is definitely important out this way. And then here is the extension of the town here. I don't know how much more residential we're going to get out this way. Maybe a spattering, but I'm going to leave it for now. And then here is the train station. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed today's episode, folks, and let me know down in the comments if there's anything that you'd like to see coming up next. Next week we'll be working out in a whole new area, so have a lovely day. Talk to you soon. Peace out.